Hey y'all, it's Kelt, and we need to do another episode of How Not to Get Perished. This one's going to be particularly focusing on a topic that should be very interesting for content creators, people who have dealt with stalkers, or been victims of or experienced domestic violence. But we need to talk about how not to get perished with the mail. So, there is a YouTube account that also goes on Twitter called The Lockpicking Lawyer. The entire premise of the account is they like to doing lock sports. Lock sports are basically, can you pick this lock? Lock sports is such a big thing that there's entire competitions based around it, seeing how fast someone can pick certain locks that are supposedly unpickable. And when I say that the lockpicking lawyer is good at what he does, picking locks, he is ridiculously good at it, to the point that he has amassed over 4 million YouTube subscribers of people just watching him pick unpickable and tough defense locks, to the point that he has a PO box like a lot of content creators, and people send him locks. This is where we get into the don't get perished part. Somebody sent him a lock that is traceable with Apple Find My Phone, like an AirTag. Thankfully, he knows what he's doing. This was out in the open. It's very prominently displayed on the lock that this lock can be traced with the Apple phone and Find My Phone, just like an AirTag or any other Apple device. And he was able to dispose of it. But what if it wasn't? And I don't ask this as a hypothetical, because this actually happens. It is possible to track someone through the mail, all with the use of basic technology. Years ago, I did a video about GPS trackers and how to search around your car for them, but this was around the newer time of AirPods and smaller GPS trackers, and the predominant ones on the market were bigger and bulky trackers. They were square blocks, roughly this size, that you could put on somebody's car or in something that weren't very hideable. You also had to do things like recharge them often because they didn't last very long. The problem is that has changed as technology has gotten better. At this point, everyone pretty much knows what an AirTag is. It's a little device, honestly about the size of my ring, that is trackable. It's made to be put on things. Like you can put a little keychain on your keys and then find your keys. They even make dog collar versions of them so that you can track your dog if something happens to them. But with every type of good technology, someone is going to find some way to use it for nefarious means, to the point that Apple had to add a feature to their phones to detect AirTags that did not belong to the phone that were noticing to be traveling along with that phone, because people were putting them in other people's cars or luggage to try to track and stalk them. Because an AirTag and pretty much any other GPS tracking device does not need to connect to the original owner's device to send its location. AirTags are specifically designed to connect to the closest iPhone that they're around, put their Find My information into the iPhone cloud so that you can see it even if you're in a completely different state. Now, this creates a security risk for people like us. Say you're a content creator and you have a PO box because you don't want to put your public address out there, your residence out there into the ether to let people know exactly where you live. But you'd still like to be able to receive stuff from followers, fans, and brands. What happens when one of those followers has an extreme parasocial relationship with you and they drop an AirTag into that box that they sent your publicly available PO box? And now you take that PO box, open it up, take your package out, throw it in your car, and drive home. Congratulations, that obsessive fan now knows exactly where you live by pulling up their phone and looking at the Find My feature and tracking where their AirTag went. Now, if you have an iPhone, you may notice the notification saying an AirTag is following you. That's if you notice while you're driving and you notice in time to pull over and get rid of that AirTag and you haven't made it all the way home or even made it into your neighborhood. But usually the issue with that is by the time that notice comes up on your phone, you've already revealed something more than that person already knew. You've already released some form of information about yourself. Let's talk about another scenario, an even scarier one. You move out of an abusive situation and you put in mail forwarding. Now, when you do that, the post office is not going to notify other people where you live. They're just going to forward your mail. What if they mail something to your old address that has an AirTag into it and the post office forwards it to your new address? Again, by the time your phone notices that AirTag and notifies you that there is an AirTag that does not belong to you around you, it has already notified your abuser where you now are located. There are even services set up for people who have been victims of domestic violence that have their mail sent to a shelter, and then it is forwarded off from there to your address, kind of like a cloaking service. You give out a public address, it is either a business or a shelter that does this, and then they forward it to you. That AirTag exposes where the forward went. I know this is all doom and gloom and it sounds really scary, but there is a solution. There is a workaround. And that solution is going back to the P.O. box. Yes, the first scenario was someone sending it to your P.O. box and you take it home. There's an easy solution. Don't take the AirTag home. The workaround for this is really easy. You go to the post office, you open your P.O. box, and then you proceed to open every single letter and package at the post office. If you need to go out into the parking lot and open them out there because there's not a lot of space, that's fine. You're still on the property grounds. Your location is still the post office. You open every single package at the post office and inspect it. If you want to keep the label so you know who it's from, whatever, that's fine. But you are looking for that hidden AirTag or other type of device. If you've moved one house to another to get out of an abusive situation, or you're using one of those mail forwarding services so that you can post one address and receive it at a different address, the receiving address, the forwarding address is always going to be a P.O. box. If you can't do a P.O. box, it is going to be somewhere like a UPS store or something that you can get your packages, open and inspect them, that is not your residence, preferably not even in the neighborhood of your residence, because that's exactly what the lockpicking lawyer did. He opened the package, he saw that it was tracking, he walked over to the trash can, he threw it in the trash. He took a picture for Twitter because he's a content creator, got to make the content. But he threw it away, didn't take it home. If you are a content creator, if you are public facing, or if you are in another scenario that you could be in danger, you have to be vigilant. This is one of the reasons why I end my videos with stay vigilant, stay safe, because vigilance is key. We are in a mass surveillance state in the world of technology right now, to where stuff that we dreamed of in spy versus spy movies, you can buy on Amazon now. If you've ever wondered why I don't have a P.O. box publicly available for people to send me stuff, this is 100% reason why right here. I've accepted packages from brands. I've accepted packages from people. I think I've accepted like 3. One was somebody sent coffee to my wife when she first started having her health issues. I did a collaboration with a cell phone case company that I was really excited about, but they never paid. And then I did a collaboration with the Ask First, Get Consent underwear and t-shirt company. All of those I had sent to a friend, a different friend each time in a different area, in fact, a different state than I lived. They inspected the package, made sure there was nothing in it, repackaged it for me, and actually mailed it to me. So there are ways to accept mail, to be public with a mailing address, and not expose yourself or your private data. You just have to be vigilant, stay safe, and remember, I love you all. Until next time.